What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cap show. We got the 2024 NFL opener tonight. Kansas City versus the Baltimore Ravens. Kansas City's looking to three-peat, the only team to ever do it. Could they do it? Could they three-peat this year? I think it's against all odds. I mean, we can never go against Patrick Mahomes in the Chiefs' kingdom of what they built up with Mahomes and just where he started from at Texas Tech. It's just been an amazing journey for Mahomes. But I think the Ravens this year, coming off the loss, in the AFC Championship game, they lost to Kansas City 17-10, only 7 points, and it was one of those games where the Ravens had opportunities to win that game. They really did, but everything changes during the offseason. A lot of changes, a lot of draft picks in between, but for Kansas City right now, I mean, you obviously have Mahomes. You got some good players from the draft, a guy that can run a 4-2, which is great, but at the same time, it's like, are they matched up well against the Baltimore Ravens tonight? And I just think right now, I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going with Derrick Henry. I'm going with Lamar Jackson right now to win this game, and I understand Kansas City's the 3-point favorites. I get all that, but overall right now, I think the difference is adding Derrick Henry to Baltimore is a huge factor. Even though Derrick Henry is past his prime, at his peak ability in the NFL as a running back, he's still a great addition, and I think that's what Lamar needed because Lamar ran a little bit too much in my opinion. Lamar's a two-time league MVP. He won MVP last year in 2023, so shout out to Lamar, but all the critics want to minimize Lamar's ability in the playoffs. We get all that. I want to see that. Obviously Lamar Jackson needs to win a Super Bowl. He needs to go to the Super Bowl before his career's over for the naysayers to shut up because as far as the talent goes, Lamar Jackson has that. We know. I just think he's got to get over the hump, and the hump is Kansas City. The hump is Kansas City. I mean, they lost in the AFC Championship game. In really Kansas City, they're a powerhouse. Mahomes, you got Travis Kelce. You got the Taylor Swift effect right now in the NFL. A lot of different waves. But shout out to Taylor Swift, one of the most famous musicians in the entire world. And she's dating an NFL player in Travis Kelce, who is about to turn 35, who is way past his prime as an NFL player. So for Travis Kelce to bag Taylor Swift, hey, shout out to Travis Kelce, man. I mean, you're winning 100%. I mean, your followers, your network's going up just by dating Taylor Swift. So I don't blame Travis Kelce. Anybody that hates on Travis Kelce isn't really a true hater, because you wish you were Travis Kelce. You wish your girlfriend was a billionaire. You wish your girlfriend was touring the world every single month. Like, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to Travis Kelce, man. Shout out to T Swift. Rashid Rice is playing tonight for Kansas City. He was involved, in off-season altercation, in a hit and run. I don't really know what went down. All I know is one of his drivers got in an accident with a Corvette or Lamborghini, and he just ended up walking away from the scene. I mean, that's what money can do in America. It could get you out of big trouble, and Rashid Rice is going to avoid time right now, at least pending that case. He's going to really just dish off that case, worry about it sometime next year during the offseason. We'll let that go by. Money can buy a lot of different things in America. It can also buy you freedom. But right now, I'm going to Baltimore Ravens over Kansas City in a nail-biter. I'll take the 46.5. I'll take the over in this. I think it's going to be, really, they're going to start slinging shots down the field. Mahomes is going to be throwing. Lamar Jackson's going to be throwing. Even though he's going to be handing the ball off a lot to Derrick Henry tonight, I still love Lamar Jackson to be throwing a lot. That's why I'm going with the over here. I took it at 46.5 a couple days ago. I think it went up to 47.5, maybe even 48 come game time. So it went up at least half of a point, which is critical in football. It really is. So that is huge. But I'm going with the Ravens with the upset tonight. Lamar Jackson is going to spoil Mahomes and company. Even though Kansas City is going to be the biggest threat in the AFC come playoff time, they're looking to three-peat. No team in NFL history has ever three-peated championships. Kansas City has a shot to do it. I like the Baltimore Ravens tonight in a close one. And then we got the Friday night game overseas. The Green Bay Packers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Philly is 2-point favorites in this matchup, which is interesting. I think this is a nail-biter. I think it's a coin flip. In Green Bay, they're expecting big things out of Jordan Love. They're expecting him to have an MVP-like season, so I can't wait to see how that develops. They added running back Josh Jacobs from the Raiders. That is a huge addition for the Green Bay Packers. I mean, Green Bay Packers are going to be super nice with Josh Jacobs. That's what they needed. They needed a guy like Josh Jacobs. I understand they had a two running back system for the last, 5 to 10 years in Green Bay. Josh Jacobs is a superstar type of running back. He's a top 5 fantasy running back. And I'm telling you right now, Josh Jacobs is going to have a big year in Green Bay. I'm telling you right now, in Philly, shout out to Jalen Hurts and company. They added Saquon Barkley, another top 5 running back, another top 5 fantasy running back. I ended up drafting Jonathan Taylor for my first pick, and my second pick was Saquon Barkley in one of my draft leagues, which is crazy for fantasy football to get 2 number 1 running backs, and I was the 11th pick overall in a 2-quarterback system. That is crazy. That's unheard of to get Saquon at number 2, dude. That is insane, but shout to Saquon, and I think this is going to be great for Philadelphia's offense with Jalen Hurts. It's going to really lay off some of the pressure on Hurts. You know, even though he's going to throw the ball downfield to Smith and a lot of different guys, I just think Saquon Barkley, the offense should run through Saquon Barkley. Instead, before Saquon, it was all Jalen Hurts. It was what he had to do. But right now, I'm telling you, it's Saquon Barkley's offense, and it's going to run through him. And if Philadelphia realizes that, you know, even right now or mid-season, come playoff time in 3 or 4 months, Saquon's going to be that go-to. I'm telling you right now, Saquon's a difference maker. I'm going to go Philly. I'll take the 2 points. 49.5 is the over-under. That is crazy right now. But honestly, I think I would go with the over right now. I just think both offenses are going to be slinging the ball downfield, also running with Josh Jacobs and Saquon. But I just like high scoring in week 1. You know, everybody's trying to get a feel who they are, who's their identity. They even might come out rusty. So I might be wrong on some of these overs, which I wouldn't even be mad. But I just think looking at Philly and Green Bay, Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts, they're out to prove something right now, especially Jordan Love. Everybody's hyping him up, saying this and that, saying he's going to be, you know, a huge year this year. Well, we'll see if Jordan Love's really about that life. But I like Philadelphia. I love Saquon Barkley and Philly. And Philly drafted a lot of defense this draft. It's going to be awesome in Philadelphia. I'm telling you right now, I love Philly. I'll take the 2 points. And then we got the Texans versus my Indianapolis Colts in Naptown. Shout out to Indianapolis, man. We got Anthony Richardson back. He's healthy right now. That is the best news that Indianapolis Colts fan can hear. That's what we want. We want Anthony Richardson to be healthy. We don't want Anthony Richardson to run the ball every single time. We have a healthy Jonathan Taylor, another running back that is top 5 pound for pound in fantasy and in the NFL right now. So Jonathan Taylor, put respect on this man's name, and I think Jonathan Taylor this year could have an MVP-like season. Rush for over 1,000 yards, maybe even hit that 1,500-yard mark if the Indianapolis Colts offensive line really gets it together. And then Josh Downs is questionable with the ankle injury for Indy. But right now, Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, they're the 2 main guys on offense. Yes, we got Michael Pittman. I get all that. But overall, these 2 guys are going to lead us to the next level. If the Indianapolis Colts want to get back in the playoffs, if we want to get it in there, you know, even if it's a wild card, it doesn't matter. It's got to start with Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor. Those 2 guys alone are going to have to propel the Indianapolis Colts to new heights, new levels, and win playoff games. That's what we want, right? So I have huge high expectations for the Indianapolis Colts, but reality's going to set in for me. The reality is for the Colts is every single year I hear it. Same thing with Notre Dame Fighting Irish fans. Hey, this is our year. You know, this is our year every single year. It gets old after a while. It's like, really, you guys been saying that for the past 2 decades, or at least for Notre Dame perspective. It's like every single year is Notre Dame's year. Same thing kind of with the Colts. It's like, is it our year? Are we even going to make the playoffs this year? This year, I realistically think we can do it. However, we're playing against the best team in our division, and that's the Houston Texans. That is C.J. Stroud. This guy and another guy, just like Jonathan Taylor, C.J. Stroud's going to have an MVP-like year. We saw what he did in the second half of the season, and he just took over the league. It looked like C.J. Stroud could easily be the number 1 quarterback here in the next couple years in the NFL. He could be the guy that everybody looks to. And who would have thought that? C.J. Stroud, when he first came in last year as a rookie, a lot of people really underestimate him. They really did. And I kind of underestimated him as well. It was just like, I don't know much about C.J. Stroud like that. But after watching him last season, dude, I'm telling you, C.J. Stroud is really that guy. And he added key pieces, Stephon Diggs. another receiver that's elite, even though I think he has an attitude problem. He can work on that. But Stephon Diggs, another great receiver. And then you got Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and they added running back Joe Mixon to the depth chart for the Houston Texans. Dude, the Texans are going to be nice. They're well coached, defensive-minded team. Even though C.J. Stroud is going to put up crazy numbers this year, I think for fantasy football purposes, he's a must draft. C.J. Stroud, he can easily get you 4 touchdowns in any given day. I'm telling you right now, I think C.J. Stroud is going to throw for a lot of touchdowns. I think he's going to be a top 3 quarterback in the league this year. Fantasy terms and just overall record in general. I think C.J. Stroud is really going to have a big year. Now, who am I going to take in this? Obviously, I want to go with my heart and go Indianapolis Colts, but I'm thinking more mathematically here and really just precision and betting with my mind. I'm going to go Texans. I'll take the 3 points. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope I'm wrong on this pick because I want to see the Indianapolis Colts win. I want to see what they can do when they're dealt with adversity. I want to see their secondary. That's one of their weaknesses. It's been their weakness for a long time for the Indianapolis Colts. So I want to see their secondary really step up and prove to me that they're legit and that they can compete against any type of quarterback in the NFL. C.J. Stroud is a top 5 quarterback, and we saw that from last year. And I just think right now it's going to be a long day for the Indianapolis Colts unless we come out and flip the script here. If the Colts say, hey, let's go. Let's go now. We understand we lost to them last year to make the playoffs. And we didn't even have Jonathan Taylor in the game. That's crazy, right? It's just a lot of people forget. But I'm right now, I'm going Houston Texans. I hope I'm wrong on this pick. 48.5 is the over-under. I mean, this game could easily go over. I mean, I've been hitting on my overs recently. I love going with the overs. I really do. I think this game has the capability of hitting the over. I really do. Even though I went back-to-back games with the over, I just see it happening. Now, all the games that I picked right now, Philadelphia will probably go with the under, even though I said over. But the Texans-Colts right now, go with the over in this game. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think Anthony Richardson's going to throw the ball down the field to everybody. I really do. It's going to miss and match. Throw to the tight end. Throw to Jonathan Taylor. Throw to Michael Pittman Jr. Just different aspects of Anthony Richardson. That's what I want to see in week 1. I want to see Anthony Richardson really open it up here. But I'm going with the Houston Texans. I'll take 3. I hope my Indianapolis Colts prove me wrong. And then we got the Washington Commanders versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are 3.5-point favorites. It makes sense. You got Baker, really a veteran now, quarterback. And then you got Mike Evans. Ever since Mike Evans came into the league, I think, back in 2014, every single season he's had over 1,000 yards receiving. That is crazy, dude. Every single season. So Mike Evans, put respect on Mike Evans' name. Nobody really talks about Mike Evans yet. He's one of the pound-for-pound best receivers that ever played, dude. I would put Mike Evans in the top 50 receivers of all time. I mean, the numbers don't lie, right? Over 1,000 yards every single year for Mike Evans. Crazy, man. Shout out to Mike Evans, future Hall of Famer in my book. You got Rachaad White coming back, a good running back for Tampa. But however, we got Washington Commanders drafting a rookie quarterback out of LSU, Jayden Daniels. Shout out to Jayden Daniels. We're going to hear a lot about this young man's name. He's a runner. He's a thrower. He can do it all. He's a triple threat quarterback. I can't wait to see what happens, what develops there. I mean, I do think there is built success for him there. You got Brian Robinson Jr., you got Austin Eckler, a veteran running back that could really show him some of the ropes. So I just think Jayden Daniels is a learning experiment for Washington Commanders. However, I do think there could be early success for Jayden Daniels. I really do. I think there could be success, and I think this game, Jayden Daniels can show us, hey, this is who I am, and this is what the NFL is going to welcome me to. And I think right now I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going to go Washington Commanders over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think Jayden Daniels is out to prove something to everybody that's really saying, hey, he should have never been the 2 overall pick in the NFL draft this year. Like, it should have never happened. So I think right now Washington Commanders are out. And I think this is going to be a nail-biter. And I think Washington wins by like a field goal, a game-winning field goal. 42.5 is the over-under. I'll probably go with the under in this matchup, even though it's a lot lower. But I love Jayden Daniels and Washington Commanders to get their first dub in week 1 against all odds. That's one of my main upsets pick. Take off Jayden Daniels. Let's go! And then we got the Arizona Cardinals versus the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are 6.5-point favorites here. Look, this is tricky. I mean, we saw the offseason of the Buffalo Bills. We saw Josh Allen. We saw them get Keon Coleman, a playmaker that's going to go crazy this year for the Buffalo Bills. You got Curtis Samuel, but you have no Stephon Diggs. That is a huge loss for the Buffalo Bills. Even though he had an attitude problem, I mean, Stephon Diggs, one of the most talented human beings to ever walk this earth, dude, is gone from the Buffalo Bills. That is a huge loss. You got Shakir there, so I think really Josh Allen is still going to have success there. I think they should win this game. However, if this is an upset game, another upset game, I mean, it could be Arizona and Kyler Murray. You know, he's healthy now, coming off an ACL injury a year and a half ago. They drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. That is the key here for the Arizona Cardinals. You got Trey McBride, already a tight end, a beast of a tight end. But I think Marvin Harrison Jr., he could really take over the league, dude. He could become the #1 receiver in the NFL, which sounds pretty crazy, right? But it's going to take him some years, even though Justin Jefferson's holding that baton right now. But I do think 5 to 6 years down the line, I do think Marvin Harrison Jr. could be that #1 receiver in the NFL. I really do, dude. His route running's great, just like his father was in Indy, dude. A legend. He's a legend. I'm telling you right now. So I think Arizona's going to surprise a lot of people. And I think this game, really, the Bills at 6.5 is too high. I would love to take the Bills at 3.5, but 6.5, dude? 6.5. That is so high, dude. I kind of don't want to take that. I want to take the Bills money line, but I just think overall, man, I think right now Arizona could shock the world here, and the Bills could take an L week 1. I'm going back-to-back upsets. I'm going Arizona, Kyler Murray, the new system, what they have going with Marvin Harrison Jr. I think it's going to be a nail-biter. The 47.5, I like the over in this matchup. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think Josh Allen and Kyler Murray are going to put up some big numbers. But I think Arizona goes into Buffalo and handles business. It's not cold right now. Still summertime. So I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a nail-biter. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. So do not take the Bills at 6.5. That's too high for me right now. I think that's throwing shade on the Arizona Cardinals. Basically saying they're kind of hyped up. But no, dude, I'm telling you right now, I love Arizona. I like them to upset Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, even though Josh Allen's going to have an amazing season. Probably the #1 quarterback in fantasy terms yet again this year. I'm going Arizona with the upset. And then we got the New England Patriots versus the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are 8.5-point favorites. Man, that's high as well, too. I would love the Bengals at 6.5 in this matchup, but I'll still take the Bengals at 8.5. Everybody's expecting high expectations for Joe Burrow and company, which I agree. You know, Joe Burrow should have a great year this year. Should have an MVP-like caliber year. Joe Burrow, we're talking about a guy that transferred from Ohio State to LSU that won a national championship at LSU. Like, dude, Joe Burrow is legit. He's one of those guys that, one of the still OG type of quarterbacks that loves to sit in the pocket, however, can scramble as well. Joe Burrow can extend the play. I mean, Joe Burrow has talent all around him. Even though they lost Joe Mixon, they still have T. Higgins. Jamar Chase right now has kind of been on hold. He's trying to extend his contract, trying to get paid like Justin Jefferson, trying to get at least 30 M's a year. That's what Jamar Chase said. He's worth over 30 M's. Which I kind of agree. I mean, Jamar Chase is a top 3 receiver in the league right now. I mean, when Jamar Chase catches the ball, he can break a tackle and just take it to the touchdown. That's the difference between Jamar Chase and the average receiver. The average receiver can't break these type of tackles that Jamar Chase does. So I think Jamar Chase does deserve that money, and I think that'll happen. I think Cincinnati will come to realization and say, hey, we need to sign Jamar Chase because they have that connection with Joe Burrow. Went to LSU together, went to college together. They need to make this deal done, dude. The season's about to start. I hope the Bengals turn it around. However, the New England Patriots are done, dude. They're trash. Without the GOAT Tom Brady, Bill Belichick's gone. They got Drake May and Jacoby Brissett. But let's be honest here. They're not going to make the playoffs this year with those quarterbacks. They're just not, dude. Even if they do end up making a couple splashes here and there in a couple games, overall, the Patriots will miss the playoffs yet again this year. I love the Bengals. 40.5 is the over-under. Man, that's tough. I'll probably go with the under right now, but I love the Cincinnati Bengals at 8.5. I'll take that all day. I'll take 10 points really from the Bengals. I just think Joe Burrow and company, they're out to prove that, hey, we were in the Super Bowl a couple years ago and lost. We were literally right there. Like, literally less than 50 yards from a Super Bowl championship. So I think Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals are going to come out hot. I can't wait to see what they do against the trash New England Patriots. And then we got the Minnesota Vikings versus the New York Giants. Minnesota's 1.5-point favorites. J.J. McCarthy's out for the season with the ACL injury. They got Sam Darnold as a starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold, yes, been in the league over 5-6 years now. Hasn't done anything in the league. He's a good backup quarterback. Like, this isn't a guy that you want to take to a Super Bowl. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. Even though you do have Justin Jefferson, the highest paid receiver who makes $35 million a year, which well deserved for Justin Jefferson. But however, the quarterback situation is just like, man, dude, unless they have some type of connection over the offseason with Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson and something crazy is going to happen. But I just think overall, it's going to be a long season for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, you got to have that number one quarterback, even though they did draft it. Unfortunate for JJ to go down. But overall, I mean, I'll still go Minnesota because the Giants, who do they have? Daniel Jones as their quarterback. Probably arguably the worst quarterback in the NFL right now. Worst starting quarterback in the NFL. So I'll go Minnesota. I'll go with the under. 41.5 is the over-under. I'll go with the under. Sam Darnold's okay, but it's like, what's Justin Jefferson going to do mid-season here when it's like, you know, a nail-biter and Sam Darnold has a bad game? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think Justin Jefferson needs a superstar quarterback, you know, because we know Justin Jefferson's a superstar receiver. However, his quarterback's kind of been fluky. I mean, even Kirk Cousins. You guys call Kirk Cousins the superstar, even though, you know, Atlanta Falcons gave him a huge bag, which they never should have. You know, Kirk Cousins robbed Atlanta. He really did. But, you know, I like Minnesota over the New York Giants. And then we got the Tennessee Titans versus the Chicago Bears. The Bears are 3.5-point favorites. This is another interesting matchup. I mean, we got a rookie quarterback in Caleb Williams, who was drafted number 1 overall. And then we got Will Levis, who was a rookie last year. He went 3-6 as a starter. Even though he did add Calvin Ridley, I think the Titans are supposed to be kind of a sneaker team. They really are. I mean, they got Spears. They got a lot of playmakers on offense. I just don't really know much about Tennessee defensively. I really don't. I know the Bears have DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, who they drafted from Washington. I'm telling you right now, the Chicago Bears are stacked. And the Chicago Bears do not make the playoffs this year, I'll be shocked. Like, they have so much talent. There's no excuse for the Chicago Bears. You guys should make the playoffs this year, 100,000%. So I think Caleb Williams is going to prove all the naysayers wrong. He's going to prove that why he was the number 1 draft pick this year. Caleb Williams, I drafted in one of my fantasy football leagues in the 9th round for a reason. I'm telling you right now, Caleb Williams can come out here and just throw darts, man. I can't wait. I'll go Bears at 3.5. I think Caleb Williams is out here, dude. You have all the superstars around you. You have a system that is designed for you to be successful here. There's no excuse. If Caleb Williams' situation does not work out, it's not the Bears' fault. It's his fault. The Bears did their job. They did everything they could to help this young man out. Let's see what happens with Chicago. I love the Bears in this matchup. 44.5 is the over-under. Probably lean more towards the under, but I love Caleb Williams and company in Chicago. The Bears should be happy right now. The city of Chicago should be like, dude, we finally have a legit team. Keenan Allen, top 3 receiver last year in yards. Like, dude, they got him and DJ Moore. Like, dude, they're stacked to the team, man. So I love the Chicago Bears in this matchup. And then we got the Carolina Panthers versus the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are 4-point favorites. Look, I'm going to go Saints automatically. I mean, we saw last year what happened to Bryce Young. He was 2-14 as a rookie. And really, the Panthers did not help him whatsoever. The line sucked. Everything sucked about the Panthers season last year. They could turn it around. I still believe in Bryce Young out of Alabama. Typically, Alabama quarterbacks do not translate good in the NFL. They just don't. They just don't. Just like USC quarterbacks, they don't. You know, you guys remember Matt Leinart? What'd he end up doing in the NFL? Oh, okay. We know what Reggie Bush did. He won a Super Bowl. Okay, so there's levels to this. Like, Reggie Bush should have won Heisman both years. That's my opinion on it. But overall, man, I like the Saints. Derek Carr, 25 touchdowns last season. I think Derek Carr, this is his make or break year. What I mean by that is Derek Carr's got to go deep in the playoffs this year. If not, I think Derek Carr eventually is just going to get, you know, a second string quarterback type of deal. Like, I just think Derek Carr's had so many opportunities. I think he had a great opportunity with the Las Vegas Raiders, and they kind of slipped that away. I don't know what happened with that, but I just think Derek Carr right now is kind of, this is one and done deal right here. You know, are you going to be a winner quarterback? Are you going to go to higher levels in the playoffs? Or are you just going to be mediocre, good, average quarterback like Dak Prescott in the regular season? What's it going to be, Derek Carr? You got Chase Young traded from the 49ers on the Saints. And you got Alvin Kamara, healthy Alvin Kamara. I think he's going to have a great year this year. I love that pick. I think Kamara, he's a pickup for fantasy football teams, definitely in the 6th, 7th, 8th round. I think he's one of those guys that could really take off this year. Even though he had a down season last year, I think he suspended the first 4 games However, I think the Saints run over the Carolina Panthers. Even though, this is like a rivalry, I just think, look, I'm going with the Saints here. It's just hard for me to bet on the Carolina Panthers. It really is, dude. So I like the New Orleans Saints in this matchup. And then we got the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons are 3.5-point favorites, but you know what? I'm going Pittsburgh here. I think the Falcons, yes, you guys got Kirk Cousins, who is not that good of a quarterback. I'm trying to tell people, they drafted Michael Penix Jr. I do think we'll see some playing time from Michael Penix Jr. this year. I can't wait to see what happens and develops from him. Then you got Bijan Robinson, who I drafted in one of my fantasy leagues, is supposed to have a crazy year this year. The offense is going to go through Robinson, which I think is right. That's what it should happen. We saw last year, different coach last year, whole new system this year. That's why I think Robinson is going to be a top running back in the NFL this year. 100%. I can't wait to see what he does. But, Pittsburgh on the other side just announced that Russell Wilson will start. I'm not surprised about that. He's a veteran, even though he's washed up. Once he starts to play bad, which I do think by like week 7 or 8, I think Justin Fields will get the start by then. Midseason form. We'll see what happens. But, Pittsburgh, they're still great. They got TJ Watt. They got Patrick Queen, signed a 3-year, $41 million deal. So, that is big news for them. So, I can't wait to see how the Pittsburgh Steelers pan out. I just think Russell Wilson, he could teach Justin Fields the ropes. Teach him what he doesn't understand yet and just have him grow. And I think Justin Fields, over time, this will be his team. It will. I mean, you got so many stars. You just drafted a rookie out of Michigan who's going to be nice. I really think he's going to be nice. Roman Wilson, I think he's good. You still have playmakers there. You really do. So I just think for the Steelers right now, this is a game where you guys need to start off fast here. You're playing Atlanta Falcons, who's got a new system here. New coach, new everything, new quarterback. Even though I'm not sold on Kirk Cousins. I'm just not, man. I'm just not. You got, on the flip side, Pittsburgh, you got George Pickens still. You got some key players that are still back from last year. So I like Pittsburgh Steelers with the upset. 41.5 is the over-under. I like the over. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I really do. I can't wait for that matchup. I love the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then we got the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins are 3.5-point favorites. Look, that's tricky. It really is. I mean, we saw Jacksonville last year fumble the bag. We saw over the offseason Trevor Lawrence sign a 5-year, $275 million deal. Hey, shout out to Trevor Lawrence. Getting that money, getting the bag. You still got ETN. You got Evan Ingram. So I think the Jags could really surprise a lot of people, and I actually like the Jags. Why? Because Miami Dolphins, they always have a fast-paced offense with no defense. They just don't. Their defense has always been mediocre, and I think the head coach, Mike McDaniels, should have been working on his defense all offseason because we're going to see it week 1. What's going to develop? Are you guys going to be mediocre and teams are putting up 28-plus points on you every single game? I mean, yeah, you guys can have the best offense in the league. You're not going to win a Super Bowl that way. You're just not. I'm not sold on Tua, even though Tyreek Hill, arguably the best receiver in the league. I mean, I'd probably put him at number 1 right now. When it comes to yards, all that stuff, even though Justin Jefferson is the best, I just think from last season, Tyreek had the best year. He really did. And then you got Jaden Waddle. I'm telling you, I think Miami, they're like a Corvette. They look great, but over time, it's going to depreciate. Once you drive that Corvette off the lot, it just goes down in value. Same thing with the Miami Dolphins. They're great. They look nice. They're finesse type of team. But when it comes to the trenches, they're just not about that life. Come defense, they're just not about it. So I love Jacksonville with the upset over the Miami Dolphins. 48.5 is the over-under. I'll probably go with the under. Even though both teams can score at will, I like the under in this matchup, but I love the Jacksonville Jaguars to upset the trash Miami with no defense Dolphins. Prove me wrong. Please, McDaniels, prove me wrong. And then we got the Las Vegas Raiders versus the LA Chargers. Another rivalry here. The Chargers are 3-point favorites. Gardner Minshew is named starter for the Raiders, which I'm kind of like, holy cow. Gardner Minshew, we're talking about his second-string quarterback. I get it, man. It is what it is. They should have started the dude from Purdue. But I feel bad for Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams, man, such a superstar receiver. Yeah, he really doesn't have a great quarterback either. It's just part of life, though. I mean, Devontae Adams is winning in life, so it doesn't really matter. And then you got Chargers. The Jim Harbaugh era, man. This is going to be great, dude. I'm excited for Jim coming from Michigan. There was in some allegations after he won the national championship this past year. I think it's crazy. I think Jim Harbaugh knew he was out of NCAA after they suspended him 3 games last year in Michigan. He already knew. He had it set that, hey, I'm going back to the NFL. I know I coach at San Francisco, but right now he's in the Chargers in a good system. with a good quarterback in Justin Herbert. A young quarterback still can develop, and I think Harbaugh's going to develop Justin Herbert to a better level. I really do. And then you drafted Joe Alt out of Notre Dame, a great tackle. That's great. And I just think right now the Chargers have the recipe to win. And they drafted young. They did some great things this offseason with Jim Harbaugh. I'm telling you, the Harbaugh hair is here, dude. Harbaugh, take off, Jim. Even though you lost to your brother in the Super Bowl back in 2013, I like what he's got going right now. He's a winner. He is, dude. He just won in Michigan this past year, dude. The championship. Michigan has been in a drought for a long time. So, shout out to Harbaugh, man. I'm going Chargers. I'll take the 3. 40.5 is the over-under. I'll go with the over. I think Justin Herbert's going to have a great game. I think Herbert's going to throw for 3 to 4 touchdowns here. They're going to score in the 30s. I think it's going to be a great game for the Chargers. I think they're going to defeat the Las Vegas Raiders. Even though the Raiders are a stacked team, I like the Chargers in this matchup. And then we got the Denver Broncos versus the Seattle Seahawks, man. Seattle's 6-point favorites. This makes sense. I mean, we're talking about Denver, who's got a rookie quarterback, drafted young, drafted a running back, Estime out of Notre Dame. Shout out to Audric Estime. I can't wait to see how he pans out. But Bo Nix, he's a rookie, man. So you just don't know. Even though they're saying Bo Nix is the future there, you just never know. You never know. We're going to see week 1. And then shout out to Patrick Sutton II, the highest paid defensive back in NFL history. He just signed a 4-year, $96 million deal. Shout out to Patrick, man. He's out of Bama. Well-deserved, man. 96 M's, dude. Now, they're going to tax you a little bit out of that. He's probably going to get at least 80 M's. You know how the IRS is. They're going to tax you. But overall, man, that's a win for Patrick, dude. I mean, dude, highest paid defensive back in NFL history. That's crazy. Homage to him. Now, on the flip side, Seattle, they still got DK Metcalf. They still got Kenneth Walker. They got Geno Smith. So it makes sense to me to go Seattle. However, if Denver comes out balling out and Bo Nix and company just balls out here, I think Denver could surprise a lot of people. I think this could be an upset game. However, I'm still going to go Seattle here. I think the experience is going to play a huge factor in week 1. And I like Geno Smith and company, so I'll go Seattle. I'll take the 6 points. 41.5 is the over-under. I'll probably go with the under. First game, typically offenses are a little rusty. So I like Seattle here. I just do. I'm betting on experience here. That's why I'm taking Seattle over the Denver Broncos, who are a young team. Even though I do think there's a lot of upside in Denver. I wouldn't be surprised if they do upset Seattle, but I like Seattle over the Denver Broncos in week 1. And then we got the Dallas Cowboys versus the Cleveland Browns. The Browns, man, I'm telling you right now, the Cowboys, they're in for a treat this year, every single year, just like Notre Dame, the Dallas Cowboys, it's our year. Well, the reality is for the Dallas Cowboy fans is you guys haven't won a Super Bowl since the 90s, dude. Like, the iPhones weren't even out then. Even though I do think Dak Prescott's going to have his best year yet in the Dallas Cowboy uniform, CeeDee Lamb just signed a deal, $136 million deal. So shout out to CeeDee Lamb. That deal's done. They got Michael Parsons. They got everybody who they wanted. So I'm going to go Cowboys here. I think Dak Prescott is going to have a great season this year. Now, however, is that going to translate into the playoffs? I don't know. I don't see it happening. We always know that the Cowboys love to fumble the ball. That's just what they do. But he fumble the bag per se. But I think Dak Prescott is going to have a great season. But it's still not going to be enough in the playoff time. But the Browns, they got Deshaun Watson back from a shoulder injury. Too much massage parlors. I don't know what it is for Deshaun Watson, man, but you got to chill out on that. And then you got Myles Garrett, great defensive end, 14 sacks last season. He's going to be getting to Dak. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. I'm still going Cowboys here. I'm going Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott, like I said, he's going to have his best season yet this year with CeeDee Lamb and company. There's no excuse for Dallas. If there is an excuse for Dallas, if Dallas ends up losing in a fluky way in the playoffs, you can bet that Dak Prescott's going to be on his way out, just like Tony Romo. Now, I'm telling you right now, I think Dak Prescott is like a Tony Romo 2.0. Even though Dak Prescott's going to have his best year yet, that don't mean crap, though. I'm going Cowboys over the Cleveland Browns. 40.5 is the over-under. I'll go with the over, but I love the Cowboys in this matchup. And then we got the LA Rams versus the Detroit Lions. The Lions are 4.5-point favorites. This is the NFC Wild Card rematch. We saw what happened this past season. We saw the Lions win. They went on to go to they went on to go play the 49ers, who they lost to, who went on to the Super Bowl and lost to Kansas City in the overtime game, which is crazy, right? Circumstances. But I'm telling you this year, the Lions, they could do it. They really can. And which sounds crazy, 5-10 years ago, the Lions were at the bottom of the barrel. But right now, the Lions, Dude, they're a top 5 team in the NFL. They're a team that can run deep this year, and they're a team that can win a Super Bowl. And that starts with Jared Goff, Ahmad St. Brown. You got Gibbs, who battled a hamstring injury this offseason, but he'll be back. You got Jameson Williams, who's supposed to have a crazy third-year breakout. So I just think right now in Detroit, they got everything lined up. Even though the Rams are such a similar team to Detroit. You got Matt Stafford. You got Cooper Kupp. You got Puka, who had a crazy year last year as a rookie. You got Kyren Williams. They're so evenly matched. It really is. But right now, I'm just going to take the pound for pound, a little bit better team in the trenches, and that's the Detroit Lions. I'll take the 4.5, even though I don't like that right now. But 52.5 is the over-under, which is crazy. They're saying it's going to be over. I'm going to go under in this game. Barely. It's going to probably hit like 50, but I just think the Lions, man, I don't know what it is. Their grit, the way they lost last season, man, on a couple fourth down plays where, you had a guy, Reynolds dropped the fourth down catch, should have caught it. It is what it is, but they learn from the mistakes, and I'm telling you, the Lions are going to be out to prove something. They're going to be out for everybody's head this year, and I can see the Lions running, only losing about 3 games this year and getting really a first or second seed into the playoffs. I really do see them that, so I think the Lions are legit. I'm going to take the Lions over the Rams in a nail biter. I think this is going to be one of the best matchups all weekend this year in week 1, so I can't wait, man. I love the Lions over the Rams in a nail biter. And then we got the Monday Night Football game, the New York Jets versus the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are 4.5-point favorites. It makes sense. It really does. I mean, they just lost in the Super Bowl in an overtime game, which is crazy. You got Brock Purdy. You got Christian McCaffrey. You got Ayuk, who just signed a deal. Shout out to Ayuk. And then you got Debo. You got George Kittle. Dude, the 49ers are straight stacked. Now, however, you got Aaron Rodgers back from the Achilles injury from last year, played like 4 snaps last year. So we're going to see a different type of Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers is written off. No way. Aaron Rodgers has one of the best arms the game has ever seen in NFL history. So to write off Aaron Rodgers would be insanity, dude. You guys are really stupid if you think Aaron Rodgers just falls off a cliff. No, he has Garrett Wilson, an X-Factor type of player. You got Breece Hall, another player. And I'm telling you, the Jets can really come out here and upset the 49ers. And that starts with Aaron Rodgers and the offensive line for the New York Jets. We know the Jets defensively are great. You got Sauce Gardner and company. But overall, Aaron Rodgers and the offensive line and the receivers, are they on the same page? And I think if they are, they can upset the 49ers. I don't see why not. However, I mean, if I had a gun to my head, I'm going to go San Francisco right now. They're just the better team all over around. So that's why I'm going San Francisco. Gun to my head, I'm going San Francisco. Even though the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, they got something going for them. The Jets will make the playoffs this year if Aaron Rodgers and company stays healthy. Aaron Rodgers has got to stay healthy overall, man. But what a week 1 for the NFL, man. I can't wait. The NFL is finally back. It felt like eternity since the Super Bowl game between the San Francisco 49ers and Kansas City Chiefs. But the Chiefs are out here on Thursday night in the opener playing the Baltimore Ravens, the team who they beat, in the AFC Championship game. And they go on. So right now, I'm telling you, the Kansas City Chiefs are looking to three-peat. No team has ever done it. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs have an opportunity to do it. I can't wait. I'm going Baltimore, and I want to see my Indianapolis Colts make the playoffs this year in the NFL. I cannot wait. It's the Clown with Cab show. Let's go!